Hello and welcome to Climate Check with me, Mary Mwiikisa. Thank you so much for the pleasure of your company. Now, on the show today, we discuss very important issues as always. And one of the issues we'll be talking about is the Green Finance Taxonomy that was launched by government through the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment in December 2025. And now it is being rolled out, explained to various stakeholders and making you and I understand what it means going forward. Also on the program, the Center for Coordination of Agricultural Research for Southern Africa, CADESA, recently coordinated a meeting for the Research for Agroecology Network Southern Africa RAINS network that was held in Lusaka. And so we'll delve into that on the show as well. Stay with me after the break. Now imagine if trees could provide Wi-Fi, just how many trees you would plant? Well, they provide oxygen. We definitely cannot do without it. Destruction of nature, such as forests, has led to irreversible climatic changes to our world. Join me as I talk to policy formulators, change makers, and climate change interest groups on Climate Check, weekly on this channel. Now you are the solution to climate change. Welcome back to Climate Check. Let's now appreciate the Green Finance Taxonomy, what it means, what impact will it have on Zambia's green growth strategy and ultimately towards climate action. And joining me in studio is Mr. Benson Mwileli. He is a BIOFIN Zambia team leader and he now speaks to me on the other side. Thank you so much for making time to be on Climate Check.
Thank you so much, Mary.
Let's first appreciate this launch. How important is this milestone for Zambia?
Thank you so much. So it's a very important milestone for the country. Mm-hmm. If you take a quick look at what's happening on the rest of the continent, we are, I believe, the fourth country in Africa at the moment to have a fully functional green finance taxonomy. And that in itself sends a strong and important message in terms of our aspirations towards the sustainable development agenda as a country. So it's a very significant milestone.
How does this align with our green growth strategy as a country?
So ultimately, the green growth strategy and the rest of the policy landscape underpins the development of the strategy. Obviously, it was developed through a very consultative process, and underpinning that process was the current policy landscape. So the green growth strategy, of course, lays out the pathways that the country looks to take in order to transition us to a low carbon and resilient economy. But also, aside from the green growth strategy, we're also looking at policies like the 8th National Development Plan, and now we're going to be transitioning into the ninth one. We're also looking at the NDCs, which is the Nationally Determined Contributions, the National Adaptation Plan, the various other policies in place that are speaking to environmental related issues. So all of those were taken into consideration while the taxonomy was being developed. And so they've also played a critical role in shaping the content of the document.
Now, for viewers who may be hearing the Green Finance Taxonomy for the first time, what exactly is it and how is it going to work?
Thank you so much for that question. So really just back to the basics. In the simplest terms, the Green Finance Taxonomy it's a classification system that helps us collectively as a nation be able to answer the question, what is green? Right? So we're always talking about green finance and green activities and green initiatives, but what exactly are these? That's what the taxonomy helps us be able to answer. So it can be thought of as a common language that is able to break ambiguity between policymakers, project developers, financial sector institutions, and so on, so that we all speak the same language when we say that this economic activity is green. We all agree that it's a green activity. So it's a common classification framework.
So some sort of, in other words, would we say some sort of guideline or something like that.
Yes,
like
it's a framework. It's a
framework.
Yes, it's a framework that basically says in Zambia, this is what is green in these various sectors.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, how will this help direct financing into environmentally positive activities, since now we'll be able to have like a blueprint of what is green and what is not?
Yes, it actually plays a very critical role.
Okay.
It does that in a couple of ways. One is it helps, so it's a reference point. It's a reference point for example, a financial institution or financial sector players that are looking to develop green and sustainable products or innovations. So one of these, for example, is the green bond that we've heard about over the past few years. There's other instruments now that you can develop that could be anchored on the taxonomy, like sustainability linked instruments, green loans, for example, could better be referenced towards the taxonomy. So that's one way. The other way is it also helps the financial sector become more resilient with regards to environmentally related risks. So it also facilitates the development of standards and other frameworks that could help financial institutions be able to better identify, better monitor, and better manage environmental related risks. The other one is that it essentially is a highlight of opportunities that exist in terms of investment in different sectors. It's a sectoral based taxonomy, so it cuts across 8 sectors in the first phase. So in each sector, it tabulates what can be classified as green. And in tabulating that, it also then is highlighting the different investment opportunities for private sector, for government, for cooperating partners to be able to then deploy capital towards. So in those 3 ways, it helps be able to then drive raising of green finance to help us be able to achieve our various environmental related targets as a nation.
What opportunities does the green finance taxonomy present for innovators, banks, investors, and just in general for any entity that might want to invest in green projects?
Yeah, thank you. So there's a lot of opportunities that it creates and also presents for various stakeholders. For financial institutions, for example, I think it's an opportunity for them to show their innovation with regards to sustainable finance. So what products can we develop that can help us be able to tap into that space a bit more and help entities that are, whether it's SMEs or large corporates that are involved in activities in that space. In terms of policymakers like central government, it's an opportunity to really showcase the leadership that they have demonstrated so far. If you look at the work that we're doing in the region, and I've had a chance to interact with various colleagues and so on and so forth, they look up to a lot of the work that Zambia is doing, driven obviously by the government's support. And so it's a way to demonstrate that leadership and that positioning in terms of the extent to which we value and really support sustainability as an agenda in general. But again, like I said, on the risk side, risk management side, I think it also presents an opportunity for entities to be able to help distinguish themselves. So if you're better placed at understanding your risks and understanding them more comprehensively, you have an edge against your competitors. We're now living in a world where climate and environmental related risks are becoming more and more imminent, more and more frequent, and more intense when they do happen. So if you have an edge in tracking these risks and managing these risks, to what extent do they affect your supply chain? In what extent, if you're a financial institution, do they affect your financial books, for example, and your creditors? It helps give you an edge and build that resilience that you then be able to need to effectively compete and navigate in this new dynamic environment that we're operating in now.
Okay. What will success look like in 5 years?
A good question. I think in 5 years, if we're looking at post-implementation of the taxonomy, I see success really resembling financial institutions fully embracing this tool, this very important tool, utilizing it to develop products, utilizing it to manage their risks. But I also ultimately would envision success being us as a country, Zambia, raising substantial amounts of resources to help support, meeting of our various commitments towards climate, towards nature, towards biodiversity, and helping us be able to then meet all of the various challenges that we've been facing. where, load shedding because of water challenges is a thing of the past, because we've been able to build adaptation in the energy sector, where we're able to build food security because now we've heavily invested in sustainable agriculture, where livelihoods of communities across the country are being uplifted and are benefiting directly from natural resources, because we've fully embraced the sustainable development agenda, and the taxonomy has helped underpin all of that.
Okay. Now, before we wrap up, let's just appreciate your organization or your project as BIOFIN. And I know for a fact that you supported the Green Finance Taxonomy activity, but then as BIOFIN, what exactly is your core business in Zambia?
Thank you so much for that question, Mary. So the Biodiversity Finance Initiative, that's the full name for BIOFIN, is a UNDP implemented project. So it's actually UNDP that is driving the work that BIOFIN is undertaking. And you know that UNDP has been a steady and reliable partner in the development space for a long, long time. And so the Biodiversity Finance Initiative is one of those ways that the United Nations Development Programme is supporting the development agenda. Specifically, our main priority areas of focus is helping close the financing gap for nature. And if you appreciate that nature incorporates all living organisms, essentially wildlife, human beings, and the ecosystems that they dwell in, right? So we want to support the, effective use of these natural resources, of our natural capital as a country, to enable us to be able to fully maximize what we're able to derive out of them without jeopardizing our ability to do so in the future. And so this financing gap is very important, because it's through finance that you can effectively then undertake conservation efforts. And we do this mainly through helping create a conducive policy environment, such as the work that we've been doing with the taxonomy, but also through developing specific instruments through which we can raise directly financing. And so, for example, the work we've been doing on green bonds, collaboratively with the government through the Securities and Exchange Commission, has been quite successful so far in helping us be able to develop this market that companies and other entities can be able to utilize to raise financing for biodiversity conservation. And so in a nutshell, we are all about partnerships, we're all about collaboration, and we're all about supporting Zambia to be able to meet its environmental commitments as a nation.
And as we wrap up, I remember one of the works that you were invested in was the Antome project, where you were trying to, let you explain what you were doing, but it was very interesting. And what worries me is that I still see a lot of human-wildlife conflicts, especially in Southern Province, whereby even in the tourist capital, you still see people stoning elephants and so on and so forth. How are we faring in this regard? Maybe you give us a brief of the work and also the status quo currently, if we are headed somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Antomwe campaign that you made reference to is a crowdfunding campaign. The word Antomwe means together. It's speaking to unity if you're coming from the southern part of the country. And we thought that was a great word that really depicted what we were trying to do, because we're looking at leveraging the power of togetherness to help us be able to then raise resources to solve this very critical problem of human-wildlife conflict, which obviously was exacerbated by the drought we went through, because now a lot of the wildlife do not have adequate water points, and so they have to go out into the communities, and we saw that as a problem. And so the UNDP pretty much conceptualized this initiative, which was leveraging off of crowdfunding. And crowdfunding, simply put, is people putting money together. And we do it all the time. It's not a new term. If you've been part of the, maybe a kitchen party committee, for example, that's people crowdfunding. We all contribute together towards a common goal. So we thought that why can't we then orchestrate it in such a way that we contribute collectively towards then helping alleviate these issues of human-wildlife conflict through mainly doing three things. One was to help raise awareness. Like you said, some of the communities are not fully aware of how they should interact and engage with these animals and wildlife, what to do, what not to do. So helping raise that awareness, but also helping build water points within the Musotia National Park to be able to keep the wildlife in the park and not running into the communities. And then thirdly, also helping the communities be able to adapt and essentially protect themselves through nature-based solutions, like chili bombs and so on and so forth, to help them be able to live in harmony with this wildlife. The campaign is still ongoing.
Okay.
We've had some additional contributions that have been coming on. We have a target of $100,000 US dollars to raise. We're still not yet there, but we continue to push and encourage everyone, our viewers, to be able to contribute towards that campaign. You can do this by going to the UNDP website and search for Antomwe, and then there's a QR code that you can scan and make your contribution, so that together we can help solve this very pertinent problem of human-wildlife conflict, so that both societies and wildlife can thrive at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm glad that we've explained how people can, contribute by going to the website and checking for the Antomwe campaign. That's very, very important. Benson, thank you so much for making time off your busy schedule to just be with us on Climate Check to explain the green finance taxonomy and more works that you're doing with the UNDP. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mary, for having me.
All right. Welcome back to Climate Check. Now, Research for Agroecology Network Southern Africa, RAINS Network, held an annual meeting in Lusaka recently, and this was anchored on the network's work in the past year and how the future looks like. And we know how important agroecology is, especially regarding adaptation in the agriculture sector. And so this meeting was coordinated in partnership with the Center for Coordination of Agricultural Research for Southern Africa, CADESA. We spoke to some of the members of the network, and this is what they had to say.
With the increased uncertainty about climate shocks in the southern region, efforts to create resilience and adaptation in the agriculture sector remain critical. Across Southern Africa, a broad collaborative effort is underway to strengthen agroecology, making it central to how food is grown, ecosystems are protected, and community thrive. The Research for Agroecology Network Southern Africa, RAINS, recently held its annual meeting in Lusaka.
RAINS is a research network, and we have the ambition of changing the way we do research by doing research not in laboratories or in research stations, but on pilot sites, and to focus on what we call farmer-led research, meaning that the farmers contribute to framing the research questions. So the research should address the specific needs, the specific difficulties, and to help them transition to agroecological practices. So I'd say it's change of research and also change the mindset of researchers, training of farmers, agricultural extension officers, and also changing the mindset in the societies.
There's a lot that research can do to foster sustainable agriculture. It can fill our knowledge gaps. It can also contribute new knowledge that can improve our agricultural practices. Research can also inform policymakers and farmers and provide the evidence they need to support and adopt agroecology. So we really want to help accelerate an agroecological transition and provide a more enabling environment for agroecology, both in practice, in research, and in teaching and in policy. And so we hope that by providing the evidence that people need, educating the next generation of agroecology practitioners and researchers, that we can really promote agroecology and more sustainable food systems.
RAINS is a multi-actor network that brings together farmers, youth researchers, educators, and practitioners across Southern Africa. Meanwhile, the network is also placing strong emphasis on youth participation in agroecology by creating spaces for advocacy and research in agroecology for young professionals to promote, foster agroecological practices.
The RAINS, we are looking at youth being agents of change. We are looking at the change in the narrative where the youth is looked at as a victim. We want to position youth as problem solvers and not victims.
There's what is called tokenism. In these programs, or what is happening right now, there's a tendency to want to tick the box to say we work with young people because it's a demographic that's highlighted as there's a huge population, they'll soon take over, and so on and so forth. So there's a tendency to just want to tick the box and say, oh, we work with young people. The challenge that I would like to pose to all of us in the group is endeavor to journey with young people. endeavor to mentor them to grow their agribusiness ventures, their agroecology entrepreneurship ventures.
I think it's also a great opportunity to find students that have the capacity to go on and learn more and become the future leaders of the agroecology movement. So there is a lot of potential there, and we need to spot the interested and bright people to build them up.
Meanwhile, Center for Coordination of Agricultural Research and Development in Southern Africa, CADESA, Resource Mobilization and Partnerships Specialist Jerome Ketz, emphasized the work of the network.
So RENS is a very exciting new research network that CADESA is coordinating in Southern Africa. It is funded by European Union, and it focuses on agroecology for now on 5 countries, which are South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Tanzania, and Malawi. But we expect that this network will grow and expand to the 16th member state of SADC.
RENS works across the Southern African Development Community with initial implementation in South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi, and Tanzania. Zakaria Nyimbili reporting.
You are on Climate Check. We take a short break. On the other side, we continue to highlight more efforts around climate action. Now imagine if trees could provide Wi-Fi. Just how many trees you would plant? Well, they provide oxygen. We definitely cannot do without it. Destruction of nature, such as forests, has led to irreversible climatic changes to our world. Join me as I talk to policy formulators, change makers, and climate change interest groups on Climate Check, weekly on this channel. Now you are the solution to climate change. We have come to the end of the program for this week. I'll be back next week, same time, same channel. Remember to play your part in protecting planet Earth. My name is Mary Mwiikisa. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.